Hello everybody and welcome to G4G Games for Gamers. Today we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a gear set discussion here in Marvel Avengers Alliance. I'm your host, the Hooded Source of Knowledge. Just kidding. So today's background music is brought to you by Savant. Link will be in the description. So I wanted to go ahead and discuss with you guys a specific set of items for the 5th slot in Marvel Avengers Alliance. And that is basically using the 5th slot in conjunction with other gear sets. So I just wanted to say that I'm going to go ahead and get my favorite out of the way right in the beginning. Spoiler, you can see, well actually no, this isn't it. I will give you a spoiler though. I think some sets make out a little bit better than others, and honestly I think the Four Horsemen set is going to be the best set that comes out of this, with the addition of one particular item. So the set that you could see here on my agent at the time, I will show it in combat as we go ahead and discuss some of the other sets, and that is the Son of the Demon set with a particular addition to it. Actually, I take that back. It's not the Son of the Demon set, it is the regular Demon set. Son of the Demon is a little bit different. I'm just going in with random people over here. So basically, this set we now have the additional slot over here. And when I get to my agent, I will go ahead and show you what we are looking at. Domino, never used, just not a particularly great character. So, I am using one of these Savage items, and of course I have the Savage Spear over here. This folds up nicely to the set for two reasons. One, it has the Might passive, and there are 3 items in the game right now that give you that Might passive. And that is the Savage Axe, the Savage Spear, and the Hallowed Flamethrower. I went ahead and picked the Savage Spear because some of these items are attrition, which further goes and assists in the set. Now what I am doing is I am using the Savage Spear's Might passive along with the massive bonus to attack that Grief gives me via Dark Bargain. You could kind of screw around with this set if you had the Thorny and use Thorny and Grief and then like 3 Savage items, but this video is specifically about dedicated SpecOps sets and then adding an additional item to it to give you a little bit of a bonus. So I've gone ahead and used the signpost, and if I attempted to Grief right now, you can see that the Vanguard would just about die at that point. I'd also put a serious hurt on the power armor. So I'm going to lead with the Hotshot. So other sets that we're going to talk about over here. One of the sets, there's some sets that I'm really not even going to touch upon just because they are so horrible. It's like, why even bother? Nobody's going to use them anyway. One of these sets that makes good use of an item is the chest set, along with using the Rectifier. Now the Rectifier is a gadget that says energy attacks are guaranteed to hit, have a higher chance to crit, and will also heal you. And that is where the Rectifier comes in really good for the chest set, because they have a lot of energy items on it. For the Self-Sacrifice set, which uses the Roar of the North, Beauregard, what you could add to that would be the Blade of the Guardian. Blade of the Guardian, when fully buffed, will eventually pull you into healing, which keeps you alive. Plus you're already tanking, so why not make people pay for the tanking that you're doing. And also the Staff of Asclepios. That also helps you live a little bit longer, because eventually what will happen... Wow, that was a pretty strong hit. The set basically has you dying and then rezzing, and then you are giving buffs to your team with that. Also, the Roar of the North, if you happen to have it, was one of the strongest single target guns at the time, or single target items, period. The Cosmic set, the one that existed at the time of Havoc's SpecOps, this one, you could do so much for it. This is one of the ones that absolutely has a phenomenal amount of synergy with just about anything. If you ran the whole set, you could add the Cosmic Cardinal, you could add the new item called the Cosmic Shielding, the one that was fixed because of several reports of it being abused in PvP. And that is from over here on Change the Channel. It is the challenge mode version of the Fantastic Shielding. You could also add the Ablative Helm from the Guardians set, Guardians of the Galaxy set. Any of the Guardians of the Galaxy set really work well because their tie-in is all about cosmic energy, and both sets really use that. You could take out the GG prototype because of the way quick actions work. However, I mean, if you have a lot of cosmic energy and you throw one out just to, you know, debuff the enemy team, you could do that. You can run the Scroll of Rudamaroth with this particular set so that all of the attrition and the radiation that you use gets sealed in. You can also run a neat little item that I think it's actually easier for me to show it to you by showing you the mission that it drops in rather than sort through my inventory. It is from a mission where MODOK is on the tile, and it's this little gamma item that basically, I don't think it's this one, but it might be. Yes, it is the challenge mode version of this. It's the gamma radiation emitter, which basically says that nearby, it puts out gamma radiation and everything like that. But there's also another item that says anytime any nearby energy attacks occur, you have a chance to put a stack of gamma radiation up. So the genetic set, which is the set that was the genetic re-engineering set, not one of the best sets around, but what works really well with that one is running the Neuropurge or anything that does Paragon exploitation. There's a few good items in there. The that ionic emitter, basically I'm going to come off full screen so that I can do the quick little type aheads and everything. The ionic emitter works out pretty well because it will remove debuffs off of you. And so there are those ionic sledgehammers. Here it is. It is the ionic emitter. It's part of the genetic re-engineering set. Removes harmful status effects from you. It can be a quick action with snappy service. Ionic enhancement. Healed when certain positive status effects are applied, like rising up buffs. Suitable patient. If a target is a suitable patient, it applies rising up, and that comes from another item. Here's the gamma radiation emitter that I was telling you about. Gamma exposure, nearby energy attacks apply radiation exposure. Huge with the Havoc set because the Cosmic Cardinal's follow-up would work for something like this. So up next we have the Son of the Demon set. Honestly, some of the best things you can roll with that is, again, the Scroll of Rudamaroth. We also have attrition exploitation, bleed exploitation, and basically ravaged. And the reason why I'm saying anything that does ravaged is because of this guy over here, the Devourer, stacking bleeds on the entire team, especially as a counter. It's very, very easy to stack 3 bleeds up super quickly, and by people being ravaged, they're going to take more damage from the bleeds. The other thing you could do is any hemorrhaging items will also work really well with that. The Vindication set. Now this set is really, really unique in the fact that they don't have direct synergy with each other. In the fact where it's not like, okay, if you're running 3 of these items, you gain a buff, or you run this item, you gain a buff. they all center around these power cells, and there's multiple guns, and the guns gain a higher ability if you use a short burst charge or a high capacity charge. Now, the only thing that gives you a standard charge is this little weak regular power cell over here, gives you short burst. All the others give you the high capacity, and then the best one gives you that sonic blast, which messes up symbiotes. It's not a big deal, because there is not too many symbiotes in PvP other than like anti-venom and occasionally hybrid. But if you run 2 power cells and 2 guns and then a 5th item, you're looking pretty good. The other thing you could do is, if you want, you could run 3 power cells and 2 guns. Not the best idea, but by running 2 power cells and 2 guns, you ensure that you can constantly fire a high capacity charge every round. You want to run the number 3 and the number 2. And then you can use something like, honestly right now I think the 2 best guns for it are the Void Generator and the Sonic Blaster. So the Void Generator is here, really good item, very defensive. It removes buffs on the target that's hit, and it applies a shield on you that not only does it absorb damage, but all your debuffs are removed, obviously except for Pesty or the Scroll of Runimaroth, and anybody who hits you has a buff removed. So you could run a tank item with this, ensure all the attacks are coming to you, and you're going to remove a lot of buffs for it. The other item is gotten really strong now, thanks to the level 15 items that are given to heroes where they can proc their passive or their class ability, and that is the Sonic Blaster. The Sonic Blaster says that if it gets the high capacity charge, not only does it generalize everybody, but it neutralizes them and exhausts them. Absolutely huge right now, especially with the weather control device getting locked out if you do another QA. This essentially means, like in round 1, you could power cell and Sonic, and then in round 2, you could power cell and Void Generator, and that's your pattern for PvP. So you're removing buffs and protecting yourself, and you're severely crippling the enemy team. Albeit, though, generalized, oh hey, hype turned level 10. Generalized pretty much is going to remove the bruiser bonus anyway, but this ensures that other items, like say the Void Prism, would not kick in. So up next, then we have the Dark Defiance set. Not a whole lot that you could really do with this set, but running Stamina Restore or a tank item for the Dark Defiance set is pretty solid. It has a very unique item in the game right now, and that is called the Horn of Wisdom. The horn, as we can see over here, will never be a quick action unless it is used with another part of the Dark Defiance set that grants you a buff that says you have a chance to use the Horn of Wisdom for free. It increases attack, accuracy, defense, and evasion, and it restores stamina, and it stacks up to 3 times. Because of the fact that it lasts for 2 rounds and you can use it every 2 rounds, you can stack it. If you die, you restore health to the remaining allies when defeated in combat. So it could be interesting as a wombo combo if, like, you Fedeb Dedarocked yourself and then found a way of coming back, but that's a different story. So there's really not a whole lot that's very good about the Dark Defiance set. Very complicated, not very good. Up next is the Armory of Adeline. Now this is a really fun set, and a component of this was actually used in the Eternal Agent. With the Armory of Adeline set, I would recommend running any shield, any tech upgrade items, or the Neurotrope, or any tank items, because you're going to be tanking already. So the cornerstone of the Adeline set is the Protector of Adeline. It is a QA that says you take reduced damage, you deal reduced damage, but you're immune to a lot of opportunistic debuffs, and your beneficial status effects will not be removed by enemy attacks. So they can't get scrolled off, or black is voided off, and strengthened can't be countered by weakened. And then you have the Guardian of Adeline. This is one of the big items here. You get a shield when you attack, you are fairly high crit resistance. You counter melee attacks when this buff is up. And you protect allies from single target melee. And you do shield slam. So what you can add to this, of course, is that cosmic shielding free action item, because that will not lock out the protector. So you can shield yourself, use this, and then depending on what you see on the other side of the field, you can either use the Watcher of Adeline, which saw a really, really popular PvP time back in the day. Really obnoxious little item over here, that Curative Watch. Or if there's a lot of melee, you could go ahead and use the Guardian of Adeline. So the Murder World set, one of the ones that I don't have a complete set for this. For the Murder World set, any of the Savage items are good, and any of the Paragon Exploiters are good. One of my favorite items in the set, and actually one of the only ones that I really have, is the Insert Coin. And that is this little joystick over here. Causes off balance, causes winded. If you have the Sugar Beet, it causes AoE internal bleeding. Pretty good. That's up every single round. And it also pairs up with the Sugar Beet, the Protanic Scepter, and the Serpentine, which was not one that I have, unfortunately. But it was based off of Constrictor. It's a nice little machine gun. The Horseman set. This is the big doozy. This one is the one that I think benefits the most right now from the 5 slots. Obviously, what you want to use with this set is the Scroll of Rudimarath. It seals in the debuffs without having to use Pesty. So that opens up a world of combinations when you don't have to run him. At 4 items of the set, you are putting out Nanoplague, you are putting out Chaos Shot, which is attrition. You are also putting out pressure points and opportunistic debuffs. So you are putting out just about everything possible. And then the No Mercy turns around and exploits it. The Memento Mori does Doom. And the Gauntlet Caress basically absorbs people who hit you. And you get their buff. And it does a number of... Hey, Spider-Man's leveled up too. So Spider-Man 2099 now has Gemmett. And my hype leveled up. So, of course, we have to go back over to the agent. And let's take a look at the Gauntlet Caress. Still pretty popular in PvP. Has some nice use because of its special functionality. By itself, it does Withered. At 2, it does Drained Energy. At 3, it does Disadvantage, which shuts down their class bonus, which is very good right now. And at 4, you absorb the class. So if a bruiser hits you, you get bruiser bonus. Scroll of Rudimarath is really the absolute best that you want to run here. Means you don't have to use Pesty. So it means you can run a tank item to pull all the attacks to you, so that your Gauntlet Caress is really messing people up. Things like the Thunderbolt Glove, Blade of the Guardian, any of the tank items, but I think Scroll of Rudimarath is really the best because it seals in all the debuffs, and if you really like Exhaustion, you can bring Havoc back. Have him do Plasma Spheres. Use the Plasma Wave doesn't kick. So this way he can wind up in 1 round with Plasma Spheres. In round 2 he could wave somebody out of there, but he's still a viable person on the third round and everything, rather than being stunned. So that set is pretty much the one that I think runs the best. You can run the Signpost because you are not really running any quick actions over here, so the Signpost will just let you live a little bit longer, especially if some of those debuffs are being thrown back at you. You can run the Staff of Asclepios to just ensure that everybody's healthy, for them to exploit everything you're doing. Or you can run the Neural Purge, which also puts out pressure points. And again, there isn't really any quick actions in this group, so there's nothing that you have to worry about. You can run a quick action and then the X Obliv, And then after that, run quick actions and the No Mercy. So this one, off balance, migraine, pressure points, chance at despair, chance at remove buffs. Really, really good with the set. The Super Soldier set. This one is a tough one to find things that go with it. Anything that does AoE incapacitation works out pretty well with this because of the fact that it likes to exploit stuns. One of the best things you could do for that is this Savage Totem. This goes ahead and puts out incap and slowed to the entire enemy team. You can also do anything that puts out the combo setup, which also gets exploited in the set. And one of the best ways of doing that is the Silenced Well Rod Pistol, because it is stealthy, so you can hit whoever you want. Combo setup. The Sticky Situation set. You can run the entire set and run the soak so that your rising up buffs are stuck. You can obviously also use the quick action web launcher. That is the one that basically stands out to me over there. Is that I think it's the Netcaster is the name of it. There it is. Close Quarter Netcaster. Obviously works extremely well with the set. Not that the Sticky set is really that good. The Integrated Intelligence set. Anything that keeps debuffs off you, the Neurotrope, the Soak, the Cube, or the Scroll of Anglobob. Basically, this was a really, really fun set at the time. I liked it with counter people like Rocket Raccoon and Union Jack. The reason being is that the special functionality item in the Integrated Intelligence set, when it absorbs the benefit of the attacker's class, similar to Rogue, similar to the Gauntlet Caress, it is actually considered a counter. And because it is a counter, people like Rocket Raccoon and Union Jack join in on it. And that's this little baby over here, the Calculated Response. At 4 pieces, gain the positive aspects of the target class. You put out disadvantage. You get reactive armor, which really reduces the damage based on the last type you receive. So really good for anti-range or anti-melee. And we also had the Master Key in the set. We had the 0 Day. And the big baby is the Cufflink. Now, the Cufflink will consume your turn unless you have Snappy Service or Rally. Really, so that kind of pigeonholes you into using the Tactician suit to get the most out of this. But you also get that nice little Chaos Shield, and you turn yourself stealthy. So typically what you do is every round you Cufflink and you use the Sentinels over here in 0 Day in round 1, and then in round 2 you Master Key somebody to death. Pretty much the pattern over there. So Neurotrope is kind of handy for something like that. Anything to keep yourself clean works out really well. Maybe tank, something like the Blade of the Guardian, which also works really, really well with the Cufflink because of the rising up. If people are attacking you, you're really screwing them for it. The Guardians of the Galaxy set, obviously the weaker of the 2 Cosmic-based sets, but the new Cosmic Shielding free action item is really good for this one. And any of the pieces of the Havoc set work out really well. Because both sets over there run with the Cosmic Energy as being the backbone. The Galactic Crusher, the rifle, the ablative helmet. By the way, yes, the ablative helmet, I forgot to mention that. Really very good with the Havoc set, the Cosmic set. Very tough set to use, but the good thing is the only thing these sets require is Cosmic Energy. You don't need other pieces. But if you ran all 4, pull in something from the Havoc set, or the Cosmic Cardinal, or the Cosmic Shielding. The Hunter set. Now, this one is potentially really, 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 really dangerous. The reason being is you have the Feneb Denarok in this. This thing basically, with the full set, you kill yourself to take somebody out. No questions asked. They said it wasn't going to work in PvP. It did. I actually remember a time Black as Void was on a member of the enemy team. He fenebbed a member of his own, or febbed. He Denorocked his own team, basically. I laughed. It was hysterical. What you can do with this Hunter set, and where the really disgusting combo is either run it with the Staff of Return or the Chalice from the Son of the Demon set, so that you could go ahead and kill yourself to take somebody out on the enemy team and then revive. If you did something from the self-sacrifice set and you killed yourself and you wanted to stay dead, you would make sure that the rest of your team is buffed. So if you were running like Hafe, that could really keep the team healthy and immune, like Hafe and Molly, and Enchantress was on the other side, Suicide, take her out, and then, you know, Hafe keeps himself and Molly alive. The other thing you could do is run the Staff of Asclepios and not kill yourself, but just keep the healing from the Vampire Sword that much stronger. The Cybernetic set. At one is really strong with attrition. Basically, you want to run anything that exploits attrition on that, like the Ice Axe from its nearby cousin, the Elemental set. The Manning Method set. This is a fun one. It has the rifle that is still being used today, and that is over here, the Amplified Rifle. Basically, this thing has a chance to disorient people before they attack, and you could use it and disorient them when you actually use it. Some of the things that work really well with that is that new gold sale gun, the Peace Pulsar, because then you can turn a ranged item into a quick action, so you could fire 2 amplified rifle shots if you wanted to. Basically, the set really works around disoriented, so anything that causes disoriented is good. Seduction is good, but Seduction, of course, has that incredibly long cooldown. But the other thing you could do is work around the Echo Tech Blaster, and you can run the Sledgehammer that says that it does ground attacks, and you could stack up the unremovable collapsing infrastructure. That's another thing that you could do for this. So this set, pretty good with the 5th item. The Manning Method set, we've discussed. The Elemental set, anything that exploits attrition, anything that works with electrical items like the Crackle and all of that, any elemental debuff, firing, chilled, you know, all those kinds of things, and even any opportunistic ones because of that Staff of Storms. Staff of Storms does put out opportunistic, so anything that exploits it, pretty good. The Runaway set. This one is basically, you want to, like, the Flaming Sword really helps this set. Anything that has you tanking is also good. The Neurotrope is good because of the pressure points. Exploiting attrition is really good because this baby here, when you follow up on somebody who has attrition debuffs on them, huge hit. The Neurotrope is good. And, well, the Neuropurge is okay, but the Neurotrope is really solid because of the Finest Hour at the, you know, the passive on this. Pretty solid set. You also have you will have the chance to live because of the Staff of Return. And if you are tanking, when you are running this set, you are absolutely immune. If you are tanking everything, if they are not stealthy, they will have to give up and pass until you come back fully to life. And I've seen this happen before. It's sort of like Victor with his reboot. If you're tanking all the things, you're completely immune to death after the Staff of Return proc. Similar to Nico. It's exactly like Nico. And if they can't get to any other people on your team, they're going to have to stop. So that's really solid for that. The Legionnaire set. What you want to do for that is the Neurotrope is good. Anything that deals with attrition, that Gamma item that I showed you earlier, and any of the electrical debuffers works really well with that particular set. For the spider set, there's not a whole lot that really can be added to the spider set. It doesn't have the most amount of synergy outside of itself, but you can add the neurotrope to it. You can add the mandible to it. Signpost is pretty solid for it. Or anything that exploits poison, but that means you're using that pistol. Obviously, the rapier is really what you're going to do. I think, or any of the might items, the Savage Spear, the Savage Axe, the Hollow Flamethrower, anything that further buffs up your damage when you're swinging that rapier is just going to be godly, because it pushes you closer to fatal blowing somebody. And finally, the Ant-Man set. Anything that is really, really good tech. Because if you're running all 4 pieces, you have that tech upgrade. So the best thing you could do there is something like the Coulson Special. Any really strong tech items would be phenomenal for that. Because you're giving yourself upgrade by using the set. Now, I have to check one little item that may get a serious bonus from that set. I just have to see if it's classified as tech. I don't really know if it is. It's the gun that like really nobody's ever gonna use. I've never seen it in combat. It's this little boomer. No, it is not tech, so that's not really gonna benefit against it over here. Yeah, well, it's listed as a pretty high top end, 6,700. This could be a pretty solid put away with any of the energy or electric based sets. But yeah, of course, you know, don't always forget we have the Small Hadron Collider that could be added to anything, especially with the Tactician suit if you just wanted to push towards guaranteed hits and crits and everything like that. We have the Vorpal Sword, which is good for any melee-based sets to give yourself 2 melee items, after using that. And of course, now we have the new gun. That's pretty good. You could always add this prototype or the Psychic Amplifier to anything, which just buffs yourself and has a chance of removing debuffs. And this was one of the other Vindication guns that I didn't talk about. It's the Obliterator. It consumes a high charge to do shield breaker and then follows up. Really very good with energy based heroes and Rocket Raccoon, Union Jack, anybody who likes extra hits. But right now I think Generalized is absolutely huge. Oh, I totally forgot. I am so very sorry. The Son of the Demon set. I really dropped the ball there and missed something very important with that. Scroll of Rudimaroth. Where are you? Are you on? Do I have you equipped? I don't have you equipped. There it is. Okay, yeah, so, by the way, the Soak, very, very good for any of the sets that work with Rising Up or buff you and use the Soak to seal them in. So the Scroll of Rudimaroth, it says that if you have Soulfire or Weakened or Dizzy or there's one other item in there, you apply like Soulfire, Incapacitation, Generalized, and Manipulated to the enemy team. Absolute, like if you're running the Son of the Demon set, they all give you those debuffs, and one shot from the Scroll of Rudimaroth in the beginning of combat is absolutely huge because you've sealed in a Soulfire, a Generalized, and an Incap. So everything available to you, and I mean it's a good way of just completely nullifying the enemy team. So I do apologize for forgetting to talk about that with the Son of the Demon set over there. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Do realize this is not a video about like crazy 5-item setups and what wombo combos you can get from that. This one specifically deals with sets plus something else. And yes, there are a few that I forgot, like the Avengers X-Men set. Not really that good over there. The 40th Century set, like fuck that thing, it's miserable. And you can add the Man Vitara to it, or one of the Future Blasters. That's about it. The Tony Stark set, nah, not really not a whole lot you're going to do with that one. I skipped that one on purpose. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hope maybe I sparked some ideas. And, you know, I wouldn't want to see a Four Horsemen set, honestly, on defense either, but with the Scroll of Runemeroth in the entire set, it's pretty deadly, and you don't have to use Pesty. That's the big thing about it. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care. What the fuck do you want?